Hey family, my name is Olivia, 25 years old. I have 5 kids, and I would like to share my journey with you guys about living in the homeless shelter and applying to get into a homeless shelter and living in the process of that situation. And I did in a pandemic as well. So, a couple of years back, I had a really bad domestic situation. It caused me to lose everything. My family and I ended up on a Greyhound from state to state, basically from homeless shelter to homeless shelter. I'm going to start with Philadelphia. If you are homeless or currently homeless and you need a place to stay, there's a couple of things you can do. The first thing is this, your local DSHS department or agriculture department, not sure where they're called where you live, but something along those lines, fill out an emergency application for homelessness. They do have that. A lot of people don't tell you about that, but they have it. And the next step would be to go to Salvation Army, fill out an application, do a phone call intake if they're going to do it in person. Might not, I don't know, because of COVID. And Salvation Army has to place you. They have to. From what I was told, from my experience with Salvation Army, if you sat in DSHS all day or a homeless advocate center in Philadelphia or New Jersey, or in Ohio, if you sat in there all day and your caseworker is looking for a place for you to stay, at the end of the day, they'll refer you over to Salvation Army. Salvation Army has to place you somewhere for that night. Okay? Normally they don't always have space, but they can give you a hotel voucher as well. Okay? St. Vincent de Paul, they can give hotel vouchers up to, I believe, 14 days, depending on what your situation is. I know there's a church in Philadelphia and in New Jersey. I believe it's called the Axe. I believe it's called Axe. I'm not too sure. I'll fill that on later with you guys to get the correct information. So basically, once you go to a, place, if you have nowhere to go, you have no car, you're on foot, and you're sitting in a local office, I just want you guys to know that I'm going to walk you through this. We're going to have a great time with it. I know it sucks, but this won't be permanent. You know what I mean? I know how it is. I've been homeless with 4 kids. I've been homeless with 3 kids. And at one point in time, I was homeless with 5 kids. And it's definitely a process. And it's definitely a mental frustration. But I'm gonna help you as much as I can. Okay? So you filled out all the paperwork for DSHS. You did the Salvation Army. You did the St. Vincent de Paul. Okay? The next thing you want to do is fill out an application. A lot of them are online, so that's great. You can do it from your phone. If you don't have a phone, you can apply for a state phone and they will give you a free phone. Okay, sometimes it might be a chip. You might have an extra phone, you know what I mean, laying around somewhere. I don't know. Times are hard, but gotta do what you gotta do. Or you can go to the local library. Next thing you want to do is fill out an application for the housing authority in that county. Okay, you're not going to be able to do all this paperwork in one day, but you're going to be able to do it in parts. The housing authority in your area, you're going to apply for subsidized housing. I know what that means. Calm down, chill. It may be a wait, maybe a couple of years, but you know what? You already ahead of the game. Because when people start asking, hey, did you fill out this application, fill out that application, you're going to have, you don't want to be behind. It's always good to fill them out ahead of time. The next thing you are going to do is get a list of all the churches within your area and even outside of your area. Because for whatever reason, if you have to relocate to go into a homeless shelter, you know, your options are bigger. Okay, so apply for every homeless shelter, get on every single wait list, call 211. That's always great. They give you a list of homeless shelters within your area. Sometimes they email it. I've had a really good luck with Salvation Army over there and the churches that have helped me throughout the way I was there for a few months. So I'm gonna give you my version of it real quick, my side, you know. When I was in Philadelphia, I was trying to get away from a really toxic situation. Won't dive too much into that, but later on I will. And I found myself sitting in the welfare office all day. At the end of the day, they would refer me over to Salvation Army. I would stay there, and then I would do the process all over again for about 14 days. And the reason why they do this is because they want to make sure that the family that they're placing has nowhere to go. That's just how it is, okay? Like, a lot of people out there claim that they're homeless. You know what I mean? They be doing crazy, but they want to make sure you're actually homeless. And not only that, sometimes, you know, they don't have enough room. So sometimes it could take anywhere between 7 and 14 days. It is what it is, but you know what? You do what you got to do. You're never going to be sleeping out on the street. They're not going to do you like that. They're going to put you somewhere, okay? Sometimes they might supply you a tent, but I've never had someone fail me. You just have to keep trying. You gotta hustle. That's the name of the game. Not only that, you gotta have a good positive attitude. You gotta be decent. If you have kids, make sure you're doing the best that you can to stay uplifted, stay motivated, stay happy, because they're watching you too. You know what I mean? So finally got placed in a homeless shelter, and it was in a church on the very highest floor, and it was tough. It was just a little room. It was tough. You had to share a bathroom. Excuse me. You had to share a bathroom. And you were around a lot of different people, and it was really scary. There was a couple stabbings that happened amongst other people. They served dinner. Sometimes some places have curfews. This one did. You couldn't leave past 9:30, and you had to be in by 7, I believe it was. They did serve dinner. It happened anywhere between 3 and 5. And we weren't allowed to bring snacks in. We weren't allowed to have food in our rooms. We were assigned chores every weekend. And it was hard. It was hard. Had no car, had all 4 of my kids, and it was tough. There was cockroaches. There was mice running around. Some homeless shelters, you're not going to have an option to pick where you live, okay? We did have room checks. The staff members I got along with. When we first entered, I had left Salvation Army because there was a lot of people who were staying in Salvation Army housing permanently, because Salvation Army does have housing. We couldn't get in there. When we first got into the church, we were sleeping in the basement on a mattress with other family members that had other mattresses in there. And we did that for a week. And we were only allowed to have 1 bag per person. And anytime we checked in and out, we had to dump our belongings out because of drugs and guns and things like that. So after the week was over, downstairs in the basement, we graduated to the top of the church. And so a lot of things happened in between that. I stayed there for a few months, had to leave due to me being pregnant with my 5th child. Went back to Michigan, had a really bad falling out over there with my kids' father. Ended up taking a Greyhound that was paid for by a church, because churches do pay for Greyhound bus tickets. So does Salvation Army. So if you need help paying for a Greyhound bus ticket or for gas to flee a domestic situation, or you're facing homelessness, or you are currently homeless, they can provide you a bus ticket and you'll be on the next bus within 24 hours. No joking. Okay. And yes, you do have to fill out an application for that. They'll ask a couple of questions like, hey, what state are you moving to? Who are you moving in with? Right? All right. So fast forward, let's jump a little bit. A month after having my son, had a really bad falling out, got a bus ticket paid for, traveled 84 hours over to Las Vegas. And we were homeless with all 5 of my kids. And in the process of doing the Greyhound, I would like to throw a couple of tips out there. So if you're facing this situation with kids or with no kids, you know what to look out for. You know what I mean? Like, I got you covered. A couple of things you're gonna need is a must. You're gonna need your phone. You're gonna need a charger. You're gonna need feminine hygiene things, okay? Like, you're going to need to have tampons, deodorant, have an extra trash bag, yeast infection, cream and stuff like that. You just need to have it. It's a must. You have to. Maybe a pillow. But if you're a mom like me with multiple kids, power to you. You know what I mean? It was hard when I was there. A lot of delays had happened. My wallet got stolen. But I had a lot of angels helping me throughout the way. Some of the passengers really did help me. And I felt so bad. I was at the lowest point of my life, but I just kept pushing myself. It's the situation is not going to last forever. It's in God's hands. So with the kids, I took the double stroller. I took a diaper bag. They all had a bag, and we left with the clothes on our back. We had no money in our pocket. We did it. We did it. And Greyhound wasn't the best. We were harassed. We were bullied. We were on the bus with all sorts of people. It is very dangerous. But hey, you got to do what you got to do for a better life, because we upgrading this year. So we got to Vegas. As soon as I got to Vegas, I did the whole entire spiel all over again. You have to jump on paperwork. It is a must. It's a must. DSHS, the local WIC office, community service, anybody you can get your hands on to tell your story to and just push that paperwork, you got to do it. Vegas was very scary. A lot of crime, a lot of prostitution. There was a lot of drug dealers. It was terrible. I applied for every homeless shelter over there. It was full. We had no other option. But off the mercy of God, we ended up going up to my current location, which is amazing. Got a ticket paid for. And I started applying for resources right away. Resources are king. I'm telling you, I know. I've jumped through this a few times due to life situations. You know what I mean? Sometimes you're homeless or you're facing an obstacle in your life only because it's going to build you to be better. You know what I mean? Don't feel down. Don't feel defeated, because there's always a solution to the problem. But I got you. So, still didn't have a vehicle. Still had all the kids. Started filling out resources right away. Stayed with a friend that didn't last very long. It was like a month. Filled out every single application in every county, every city within 7 days of me landing, okay, to my destination. Every single homeless shelter I applied for. okay, within 7 days. On the 8th day, I was accepted into a homeless shelter. That quick, okay? And depends on where you go. You gotta be willing to travel. If you don't have a car, you gotta walk. You have to. I know, it may be miles. Listen, me and my family, we've done 14 miles in one day. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have time. So you either got to walk, you got to take the local transportation. If you don't have money for the local transportation, the churches, Community Action Council, Salvation Army, I'm telling you, St. Vincent de Paul, DSHS, if you reached out to, I believe Greyhound does have a program, I'm not sure, they can help you get bus tickets. They hand out free bus tickets. They will help you. If you talk to a bus driver and you explain your situation, hey, I'm a mom, I'm homeless, I'm just trying to get to my destination, that bus driver will come through for you. I'm telling you, I've had it happen in my past. You know, there's miracles out there. So what you want to do is fill out all the applications for a homeless shelter. You want to get that process going. They do intakes such as, are you on drugs? They might, give you a urine test. They might give you a questionnaire. They're gonna want to know why you're homeless, and they're gonna want to see proof that you are homeless. Some people might want to see you homeless, sleeping out on the streets. It really just depends on what you tell them, what your situation is, basically. I do know in some states you can be homeless with kids just as long as you provide them food, a place to sleep at night, clothing, all the basics, but you gotta get it figured out first. If you can't find a place to go, my advice to you, and you have a vehicle, okay, but you don't have a place to go, and you have kids, but you have a vehicle, if you're parking somewhere, park up at the local churches within your area. Those are some safe parking lots. I've experienced myself in the past. I haven't had to use them that often, but you do what you got to do. If you don't know how to get showers, sometimes there's local programs within your area to do showers. I don't know about your state, but some states might have, a lake public restroom that you could use. You could wash up, try to shower over there in the summertime. Summer, kind of is easier than winter. Local YMCA, I know you can get a membership if you're receiving public assistance such as food stamps or cash or health. I know they can give you a membership just because you're on public assistance, and you can always use their gym bathrooms when they open. Okay, so taking showers and stuff, we got that covered. Applying for homeless shelters, I can't stress to you how big it is when it comes to paperwork. Okay, that's just, knowledge is king. You do the paperwork, you do the work, I'm telling you, you will be placed. Okay, and don't stop talking to people Monday through Friday. You got to be working from 7 a.m. to 4:35 p.m. You just have to. You have to do paperwork. You have to do phone calls. You have to check up on your paperwork. If you don't, sometimes it could bite you in the end. It does. Sometimes people misplace things. Sometimes people lose things. Okay. Another thing you're going to need to get into a homeless shelter is birth certificates of all members in the households, Social Security cards for everybody. That is a must. You cannot get around that. If you do have these problems with one or two, the homeless shelter or DSHS or Salvation Army can help you get a copy paid for if any one of these are missing. If it's out of state and you have to travel to go get it, I'm telling you, they'll figure out a way to get you, I had a situation with one of my son's birth certificates missing. A homeless shelter paid for his birth certificate that was out of state. We didn't have to travel to go get it because we were homeless. They were a homeless shelter. That was part of their, their work. Okay, so all social security cards, birth certificates, you're going to need sometimes health cards. They want to see that. And so once you do all those things, make sure you get copies because sometimes those get lost and you need those for your personal belongings and things like that. If you don't have a job and you're currently not working for whatever situation, just apply for cash assistance. They'll get it to you within that day. Within 24 hours, you'll get some amount of money for that month. It could be like $100 or $50. It's prorated. So once we got into the homeless shelter, some homeless shelters are different. Some homeless shelters are duplexes. Some homeless shelters are apartments. Some homeless shelters are churches. You have to share a room and there's 50 other rooms and you have to share a bathroom. A lot of homeless shelters are different. Don't get discouraged because I'm here for you. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to push through this. So we moved into the homeless shelter. It was a duplex. It had a washer and dryer. We still had no vehicle. We were in an environment. We didn't know anybody. And it was tough. It was tough. I'm not going to lie. I had a brand new baby. Postpartum depression on the Greyhound really did suck. I'm going to get into detail with you guys later about my experience on the Greyhound doing postpartum. And, being pregnant on the Greyhound and not being pregnant and postpartum and 5 kids and 3 kids. And it was just crazy from one state to the next state. It was crazy. But I'll save that for later. So we spent about almost 9 months in that homeless shelter. And within that 9 months, that homeless shelter had an office on site. And sometimes they do. They have caseworkers. One will be assigned to you, but you want to be talking to everybody. You want to outshine a lot of people. You want to have an upbeat attitude. You want to be there to help. You want to be there to change your situation. And I'm telling you, miracles happen. People help you. So sometimes they might have classes you might have to go to. It might be a parenting class. They talk about educational things for kids and how to discipline kids and all of that. A lot of these homeless shelters are grown from local churches within the area, and this is what they wanted to do to help the community, like it's good stuff. And when you are attending these classes, because sometimes they want you to do like 4 classes a week, maybe. It just really depends on your situation. If you're not working, they do want you to attend to job programs such as filling out applications or learning how to build your resume, or sometimes they'll have low budget classes on how to build your credit, how to be on a budget, how to be self-disciplined. I mean, these people are here for you. They have, sometimes they'll have classes for you to just be better mentally, right? And so I was attending those classes 3 days a week. I didn't miss any of them. Sometimes I did extra classes. The kids would be watched downstairs because they provide daycare while you're doing these classes, so you can make it. Kids will be doing activities such as going outside, painting, all that. You know what I mean? And not only that, in these homeless shelters, they supply you diapers, wipes, food. The food bank is always close by to a homeless shelter sometimes. The homeless shelter will help you get the food bank items through a volunteer. I know, guys, it's crazy. I know I'm probably not going to be able to share all the information in this video today, but I'm telling you, I will come back around to sharing as much information as I possibly can. So, oh yeah, and they provide you clothes. I know, guys, it's crazy. They'll give you free clothes for interviews, jobs, and things like that. They'll have clothing closets for women. They'll have clothing closets for men. They'll have clothing closets for the kids just for them. You can pick up diapers, wipes, socks, underwear for your kids all on a separate run. But it's there. They're there to help you. So I did all the classes, put the kids in daycare, did the state thing with cash assistance, doing their job programs, applying for jobs. Within those months I was there, I saved up $7,000 to buy myself a vehicle. I know. Crazy. Not only that, another tip I wanted to tell you too, some of these homeless shelters and churches, they be giving away vehicles for free. I know, guys. I had to share that with you. Depending on what your family situation is, they'll give you a car if they have a car in inventory. This is how this works. So a family will come in and donate their vehicle. They'll donate it off, and if you're on that list for a vehicle, you will be selected if it fits your family size. They cannot take vehicles that have mechanical issues, obviously, because that would just be pointless and a liability on them. I didn't get a vehicle because we have 6 people, and the chances of someone donating a van was very rare, and I didn't want to take a car because then that would just be defeating the purpose. So they do give out vehicles when they have them. Reach out to your local churches, your local homeless shelters, and ask about that, because a lot of people don't tell you that. Stayed there, paid for my truck, paid for my insurance. Some homeless shelters do have a limitation on how long you can stay. I was only supposed to stay there for 3 months, but due to the pandemic, we had to stay a little longer than that. So we stayed until August. And during that time, I still was applying for other homeless shelters. Some homeless shelters can help you up to 18 months or 3 years, depending on your situation. You got to get on that wait list. You have to call a director. Remember, a long time ago, when I told you when I first landed to my destination, I was on top of every single resource. When I moved into the homeless shelter, I was still calling every month to stay on track for every single homeless shelter in the county and other areas. Got to. So August came rolling around. Homeless shelter told me that my time was way past. They weren't going to kick me out, but I had to figure out another option. I was getting my mail there. So legally they can't move you if you're getting your mail there. Okay. But you do want to come up with another strategy. So I called another homeless shelter that was about 50 minutes away from me. And she said, hey, I might have room for you. I'll call you back. She called me back within 48 hours. And this time she had room for me. I didn't know what it was going to be. Remember, every homeless shelter is different, but we will take it. We will make it. And moved into that homeless shelter. I had to share the kitchen, the laundry room. There was a lot of things I had to share, and they could help me up to 2 years. I was very grateful by that, blessed by that. Oh yeah, another thing I wanted to throw in there with you guys. I almost forgot. Sometimes you guys might have to pay rent. I know. Whatever money you're bringing in, they want you to pay at least something. Rather that be 50 or 25 or sometimes 300, depending on what your family income is what they'll base your rent off of. I know. They want you to be responsible for when you move into your permanent place. They will help you get to where you need to be. This is your stepping stone. I know you feel like giving up and wanting to cry and you're at your lowest point. But you know what? I got you. I got you. Yeah, so the first homeless shelter I was living in, they had me pay $60 a month. And I had to pay for Wi-Fi too, which we didn't really use that. I mean, I was bringing in some money, but not much. So we paid our rent, we paid our Wi-Fi, paid my phone bill. You got to have a phone, and basically, just really stuck to my budget. So when we moved into the next homeless shelter, they based it off of my income, and I was paying, $500, because based off of 30 or 40% of your income, whichever one comes first, that it is what it is. Oh yeah, and another thing, sometimes they'll sign a short-term lease. Yeah, I know. They sign a short-term lease. They just do. So you sign those papers, you copy it. This is why it's so important. So important to have a good attitude, decent attitude. Make sure, you're doing all the steps they want you to do. You're applying for every single housing, low income housing out there. You're putting your butt out there. I know you're grinding, you're working. They sign a lease to you. You pay your rent on the first of the month. If you fall late, sometimes they'll forgive it, and sometimes they will say, hey, you got a bill. Or sometimes they'll assign you a community service chore in the community to pay for that rent for that month. I know they do. Sometimes it could be, trash or sweeping or lawn care, or it could be anything. You could be volunteering to help in the office center. Could be anything. So we did that. We stayed there. It was very rough. We had a lot of family members that we have ran in and out of to. Everybody's situation is different. But my advice to you is just stay focused on you, your family, making your situation better. You know what I mean? Like being strong, being fit, being healthy, doing the applications, doing the hard work. I'm telling y'all, I had a stack this thick. I know what paperwork is, okay? Paperwork is gonna be your best friend. I'm telling you. Moved into there and did all the paperwork. I mean, this lady was hardcore. She was just hiya. You know what I mean? Holidays came rolling around, such as October, Halloween. I know, guys. I know what you're gonna say. What are we gonna do for the kids? We got no money. I'm gonna help you. They'll provide costumes. I know. You just gotta look around. You gotta apply for resources. You gotta get your butt out there. Christmas, local food banks will help you with gifts, items for your kids, and give you gift cards and things like that. If you're needing hygiene products, you can get those from your local homeless shelters or from your food bank. I will walk you through a video of that a little later. But yeah, so me and my family, we stayed there. I had a lot of weird moments happening with other neighbors, because we're all homeless, right? The majority of us are women. We do have kids. We're stressed out. We don't have a lot, but what we can do is lift each other up. We can. We're at a lowest point of our time. But I ignored, certain things happening to me in the homeless shelter, like my things being stolen, my truck being vandalized, people trying to break into other people's places. We've had a drug problem happen in a couple locations that I was at. In the current location I was at when I left the location that my lease was up in August. So in August I left that location, and that would have been my 5th homeless shelter I would have been in with the kids. I left that location and went to the 6th location, another homeless shelter. It was way nicer, had a dishwasher, had a refrigerator. It has everything you need. They will provide you everything you need. When you walk in, kind of feels like home, kind of doesn't, but they'll provide you beds, blankets, may not be new, but it's something. So yeah, we stayed there, got the kids in daycare, because you have to go to their classes. You have to go to the state classes. You can't slack on that. and you have to do certain things in order enough to reap the benefits of what you're trying to accomplish. So, stayed there for almost a year. And within that year, I filled out 72 housing applications. I know what you mean. And that's not from the 5th homeless shelter that I had came from. That was just from the 6th alone. I know, it's crazy. But anyway, I'm going to be going. This is going to be continued. And I'm going to walk you through the processes of it because it's already been 35 minutes. You know, I'm a single mom of 5. And I'm just going to keep you posted like I usually do. And I'm going to show you guys what I did to get in and out of the homeless shelter. It was a journey, you know. And I'm going to just tell you how I made it. But anyway, love you guys.